Morning, guys. I'm going to do a quick little video here. Hopefully what this does is it makes you change your belts more often. What had happened with me was not too long ago, I had my band start slipping on the belt that was on this side. Now, I had a set of belts that I took off a long time ago that were still good that I put back on, and I have new belts here, and I'm going to show you how to swap them out. And you don't need to take the tension off of everything. And I think that kind of getting in here to some of these pain in the ass Brian Shellswell bolts here might keep some people from switching their belts often enough. And if you're out there and you're dealing with wavy cuts and things like that, this is something that you need to stay on top of. So I have new belts from Norwood. I'm going to show you how to swap these out without taking the tension off and what you need to look for, like cleaning the inside of this wheel here. And let's just try to knock it out quick here. So I hope your view's good. First of all, to get this belt off, I don't even think I need really a screwdriver. All we need to do is just pull the belt off the side of the wheel and rotate it, and this whole belt will come right off. Now, if you saw how easy that was, you can imagine that putting it on is pretty much a carbon copy in reverse. The only thing, I always do it the wrong way. You want to put it on here, and I think we go around the bottom and rotate it around the top, and it'll snap right back on without ever moving this. All right, so we do have to clean out the inside of this wheel, though, and I'm going to show you that in a minute up close of what's in there. And let's take the other one off. All right, so I'm going to take the second side off, and you can grab a few things. One thing I did do is I put a clamp behind the carriage so that the carriage can't push backwards, so I can kind of work with both hands without having to hold on to the sawmill to keep it from pushing away from me. I just got a couple of screwdrivers out of my kit, and maybe this crow's foot, I don't know, we'll find out. But what we're going to want to do is kind of find out where it's going to have kind of a spot where it likes to be loose, like right here. We're going to start there. I'm going to see if we can get this pried over, and then try and grab it from the other side and get this in there. And as soon as we get, almost get this kind of starting to come off like that, you've got it licked. Now it's just a matter of just pulling on it, and off it comes. So the one thing we're going to want to do is go around and inspect the inside here, the flat surface, because pitch likes to build up there. This wheel looks pretty clean, so it doesn't need anything. The other one's got a lot of junk in there, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. So I'm going to try to get this down in the sunlight, but if you see right here, that's a big bump. And we got to get that out of there, and we'll kind of roll this around. Now, I stay on top of mine. You can see how it looks pretty clean. There's a couple bumps there. This is pitch and stuff that gets in between the drive belt as it's running and the wheel. And you got to take that stuff out. I used to take it out every single day, or at least whenever I do a band change. And I'll show you the way that I do it. So what I do is I kind of look in there, I'll hold on to the wheel like this, and I just use a straight screwdriver, something that's not going to dig in. And as I see them, I just kind of chip them off. There's a big one there. You get both inside and outside, so you kind of just tilt the screwdriver like this to each side. And then once I get all the ones that I can kind of see off, I'll show you what I do. So there's another one there. This is a bump. It's an actual bump. It will cause your band to run funny. I'll kind of run it around until I feel one. Usually it makes the wheel stop when you hit one. There's one right there. The screwdriver does a good job of not digging in. And once I kind of go around, what I'll do is I'll put the screwdriver to the inside. And then I'll tilt and twist the screwdriver to the outside, run it around this way. Looking to not feel any bumps. Oh, there's one right there. And then run it kind of flat in the middle. And that's pretty much it. Now let's put them back on. All right, so we're going to put this one back on, and I'm just going to tell you that, you know, I'm not an expert at this or have a degree in putting this belt on. So if it doesn't go perfect, then it doesn't go perfect. But usually if you work it from both sides, this is not like doing a bandsaw tire. It goes on much easier than that. So that one goes on, simple, and we're going to put the other one on. All right, now keep in mind that I haven't taken any tension off this. I know you can't see my face, but that's probably a good thing. You want to see the process. What we're going to do is we're going to get this thing sitting in here. We're going to go around our idler pulley and around our clutch, make sure it's seated on the clutch. And now, if I do this backwards, I apologize, because I almost always do. But I think we start on the bottom. You're going to get it on as far as you can get it, okay? Like that. And then all you have to do is just rotate this thing, get it on kind of as far as you can get it, hold it with your thumb, just rotate this thing through the stroke. That's it. Now we haven't taken any tension off. We still have perfect tension. The tension gauge on this is that with 2 fingers, you can rotate it 90 degrees. I'm going to show you in close on this. So this is the tension with 2 fingers that you can rotate it 90 degrees and no more. That's what Brian says is the tension on this. All right, so I have good tension, brand new belt. We'll have to check it after some hours to see if that belt loosened up. So what I'm going to do now is, just while I'm at this stage, I'm just going to throw some grease in these bearings, put a little ATF in my pads, automatic transmission fluid, a little bit of ATF on my uprights, and some 3-in-1 oil on my raising and lowering clutch. It's normal maintenance. You should do it every time that, really, I should say, when you change a band, or every few days. Now, you don't want to go too heavy on the grease, and these things, as soon as you see the grease start bulging, stop, or it'll fling around all over the place in here. Pro grease gun tip is always end up with it in, so you can put it away without it going anywhere. Okay, I got it just coming out. So you always want to end up with that in. And then a little bit of automatic transmission fluid on my pads. I like to put a little bit on my uprights too. Especially if you have areas where you can see that the pads are rubbing heavy, they'll make a black mark on your uprights. You want to make sure you put some ATF on those. Little 3-in-1 oil in my up and down clutch, and basically you just squirt it in there. It keeps it from squealing and creaking. You don't want to use ATF on that. It won't work. You'll still squeal and creak. And we're going to throw the band on and tension it up and check the tracking real quick. This is actually a Resharp Stella Cut band that I just ground over to 7 degrees. Now, should this new belts, should they affect the tracking? I would think they would. So we're going to have to see if they're tracked right. Now, one thing I like to do before I tension up, I like to get my belts kind of my band kind of in the right place. So gullets flush to the front of the wheel, and then tension it up. Tension on this mill is pretty simple. What you want to do is you want to rotate this until it just starts making the spring move in. And sometimes you got to kind of go over on it, but I can see my spring is just starting to move right here. And then we want to tension it in until the spring bottoms out, but I can tell you it's 6 1/4 turns on my mill. So I go half 1, half 2, half 3, half 4, half 5, half 6. And if I've done this right, it'll come tight at 90 degrees right there. And that's so that your adjustable throat will pull underneath it. And it feels like I'm a half turn off, so that's probably actually 6, and there we go. And that's just because I was so loose and those belts are probably squishing in a little bit, but that's where it stops at 90 degrees at 6 1/4 turns from as soon as the spring starts to move. And you should do it the same way every time. Now, one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to over reef on this, because you can bend your mechanism inside if you over reef on this. So you're better to be 5 1/4 than to try to go to 7 1/4. So as soon as it starts to move in and out, 6 1/4 turns, it should, as you're turning it with your hands just normal, if you do it right, it's just going to stop at 90 degrees here, or parallel to your bed, perpendicular to your uprights. And we're going to check the tracking. Tracking, when you check your tracking, don't just rotate it a little bit, rotate it a lot. Now, the first thing you want to notice is if you have correct tension, you're running the right band, everything's working right, you should be able to roll this through with one hand pretty easy. You want to go enough times to give that band a chance to move. Okay, so don't just stop at, like, don't just go, oh, there it is, it's all good. It doesn't work that way. You want to rotate it enough so you give that band a chance to travel to where it wants to be. Now, I can tell both of my sides right now, that side's not very bad. This side's riding in a little bit. I'm going to make an adjustment to both sides to correct it. And that's just because the bands have changed, and it's actually, I don't know, they're either putting more tension on it, and that would make it move. It would make them go like this. Yeah, it would make it move in further. So because they're new belts, there's a higher PSI on this right now. So actually the saw head is being tweaked a little more this way. And when you turn your wheel like that, your band will roll in. Now it's very, very, very minimal because it's only in on that side, not even a 1/16 of an inch. This side, maybe a 1/16 of an inch. But it is different, and that'll change as these belts wear in a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a tracking adjustment. Rather than trying to remember which way to turn these bolts, all you have to do is remember one thing. If you want the band to move out, you turn the bolt out. If you want the band to move in, you turn the bolt in. I'm going to guess over here, I'm going to do a 1/4 turn out and check it again. And we're going to see sometimes it will affect the other side. I always start with this side first, unless this side's perfect and that side isn't. Then I can't do anything over here. I have to go there. But we're going to go ahead and move this adjustment screw just a 1/4 turn-ish out, because I want my band to go out. And we're going to check it again. Give that band time to move. Don't just do a little 1/4 rotation. And if you can't do this, you got something else wrong. So it's really, really close right now. That side's still in just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and do a 1/4 turn out on this side. Again, to make my band move out. And then always in the direction of cut. This side kind of went a little bit too much. I'm going to move it back in just a little bit. It wasn't even a 1/4 turn. This side looks perfect. That side's in still. This side still needs to come out. So I'm going to move this out another 1/4-ish, maybe 3/8 of a turn. Right now, both sides are perfect. Now I can see that side. I can see the gullets being flush. and this side's perfect. So it was just that little adjustment. Now my tracking's perfect. I'm ready to go to work today. If you want to clean up some of this stuff, I found that brake clean works really good. Just the problem with brake clean is it's kind of expensive. So you can get in there with a wire brusher if you want. The one thing about brake clean is do not spray it in the bearings. All right, so if there is lubrication, I know these bearings are sealed, but if there is lubrication in there, you don't want any brake clean getting in there. Only do the back sides. But yeah, I'm ready to go to work. Brand new belts, perfect tracking, perfect tension. Everything's lubed up. We're all ready to go to work. I hope this helps somebody out to show you that it's not a big deal to change these out. I am going to keep these two belts because they were still functioning as backups in case I broke one or something. I'll have a backup that at least I can run until I get my new ones from Norwood. So thank you all for coming along. And if you have any comments, suggestions, blah, 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 just leave them in the comments below. If you want to order belts from Norwood, just use my Norwood affiliate link in the description of the video. You can copy and paste that link to your browser, and all it does is it tells Norwood that you watched my video, and it takes you right to Norwood's site if you want to order something like brand new belts. Never a bad idea. I've actually had one set, at least one drive belt go to fail. One set to where I had another problem and I didn't trust them, but they are wearing. I can see, you know, the fibers coming through it. So let's just say two sets, one to fail, one to not fail, but it's pretty worn in 3 years. So they don't go very fast, but now I'm all tightened up and all ready to go. And thanks for the watch. And for now, it's for Danny, who you didn't get to see, and myself. It's Pirate Solutions out.